since I played Hades then. So I think the itch was starting to crawl back up for another one. So Hades 2 release. What I'd say about Hades 2 is it is Hades again, but more. And to this, actually, I would say, Kian, if you are at all interested, start with Hades 1. Because Hades 2, mechanically and narratively, kind of rely on you having some level of investment in its first game. Like, the entire premise of Hades 2 is that the House of Hades and the Mount of Olympus have fallen, the gods are at war, and the Titan Kronos is back from the dead. So it kind
of funny. I'm getting like a sort of a more like pixelified, like God of War vibe off this.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I'd say like it's less like, and I mean this in the most loving way, hateful than God of War. But that is kind of the point. Like, Kratos just spends its time like so they're really done with her. No, but like,
story-wise, reminded me of those Stephen Fry books you're pitching to me years ago.
Like, that's
has the absurdity of the Greek stories in it. Like,
yeah, it understands the kind of like, how ridiculous a lot of the myths can get and just kind of plays into that. But no, the whole so the premise of Hades 2 then is that you're however long, because time is also kind of meaningless in mythology. After Hades 1, Hades and Persephone have a daughter called Melinoe. The whole thing kicks off. The House of Hades collapses. Melinoe gets taken into the woods by the witch Hecate, trained up, and you are basically told from birth you have to go and kill Kronos and reclaim your house.
Kronos being one of the old titans, right?
One of the old titans, yeah. They refer to him around here a lot.
Right. Is he the one who holds up the sky?
No, that's Atlas.
Oh, of course that's Atlas. Right,
yeah.
Gotcha.
No, Kronos is Zeus's dad. Try to eat him. Titan of time.
This is what I mean about the absurdity.
Yeah. But so just like as I said, it's very much more, but introduces it a lot faster than Hades 1 that I think would be overwhelming to new players. But on top of it's the same structure of you're trying to make your way down to the House of Hades to defeat Kronos and that recursive loop of repeating on death. On top of that, though, there's a whole second route of going up Olympus to try and save the gods of Olympus from that secondary assault. So now there's basically double the route. Also adds into that recursive loop, because if you get tired of going one direction, you could spend another 2 hours going the other way. And
but you don't have to walk back every single step, though.
Yeah, but it's because of the variety of different weapons and boons and combat perks you get. No one run is the same because some things are randomized and it'll encourage you to try different weapons because one of the new weapons will have a random stat buff of a given day. So it's constantly encouraging you to try different builds, try different runs, and then as you go up, you're gathering completely randomized boons. So no, although it's the same format and track, no two runs are the exact same. And it's so cleverly mechanically designed in a balanced format that I think I seem to remember that an interview with the developer where they would there was a kind of an inbuilt difficulty balancing where if they noticed you weren't quite pushing the scale or getting past any of the mini bosses, they would suddenly front load you with more more damage hitting boons, more high defense boons.
Okay.
And just pushing it over and getting you making you feel that lucky edge is just around the corner, and so that you can actually progress and beat that boss. You may need to confirm that for me. I'm pretty sure that was something they had designed.
But okay, but one thing I'm getting a bit lost on is what is the actual mechanics of the game? Is it slashing? Is it combat?
Yeah, it's a top-down isometric hack and slash.
Oh, okay, so kind of free roaming hack and slash. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a very top-down action game. But just as I said, there's about 5 different main weapons, all of which have increasing variety, all of which are just completely distinct in themselves and have variety in how they can be used depending on depending on boons and depending on different buffs and things. So like the variety of what you can do is pretty crazy.
Okay, well then you've kind of like, just to kind of like tie it all kind of up then, like what is the thing that keeps you coming back to this game the most?
Oh, it's that one more run feeling. It is that like it's that feeling in the back of your brain of if I do it differently this time I'll win.
I have that with Faster Than Light back in the day.
Yeah. But again, I said it at the top of because you don't get that like disappointment of failing a run, because every time you end up back in the crossroads or back in the House Hades in the first game, you get more narrative. The story progresses. It's just like it's a recursive feedback loop of, well, I've just spoken to these guys and progressed this storyline and I know a little bit more about the world. But if I just
It doesn't feel like you sunk your time in something and it doesn't pay off. Like
exactly. And then by the time you hit that gate, you're like, oh, well, if I tried this one new mechanic, maybe then I'll win. And you're just right back in the cycle. Like I love it so much and it's a problem.
okay, well, you have done a good job selling me on it. Before I kind of like ask my last question, Dara, is there anything you'd like to ask? Since I know you're a bit of a classics buff yourself.
By classics buff, you mean has half a PhD in classics?
Yeah, a bit of a fan.
Just a bit of a fan. No,
Well, I mean, you can study something and not necessarily like it. So, I didn't want to assume.
I wouldn't have spent 8 years studying it and teaching it. Like it. But anyway,
Well, I just noticed you're oddly quiet considering this is your mastermind specialist subject.
yeah, because I was eating a burrito.
That's the only reason.
That's true. But yeah, so like we've gotten so good at doing this podcast that I can multitask. So yeah, no, I mean,
Well, no, you're single tasking while podcasting. It's not the same thing.
that's true. That's true. And now everyone knows why we're not a video podcast. But anymore. But no, my question would be, Kev, like, so obviously the first one was very, very good. It has the same elements. It kind of builds on it. It does what you want sequels to do, where it's like give you familiarity, but more of it, So it seems like that's what he did. But my question would be like, why buy Hades 2? If you can go in and play Hades 1 and complete it and then leave it, is it because the mechanics have been tweaked in any way, or is it because the story is better? Like, what's the unique selling point of Hades 2 over Hades 1?
I would say like I think like it is actually just it's less even the what's different about it is just that it's more of that. It's because like obviously the other thing I don't really touch on with Hades 1 is that like visually and auditorially, like the music, like Hades 1 is gorgeous and its music is incredible. So even like just having more variation of that is almost selling point enough. And especially because Hades 2, I think Hades 1, I think delved pretty like deep into some of the less popular like myths. Not the ones that like not everyone would know as well. Mm-hmm. Where I think Hades 2 now is taking the opportunity to go over a lot more of like the more well-trodden myths. Like one of the main companions in your house is Odysseus.
Right.
My personal favorite like thing they've done in Hades 2 is one of the sub bosses is Scylla, the like tentacle monster, but she's the singer of a rock band called Scylla and the Sirens.
That's really funny.
And when you go down, the song that's playing in the background is their song. And then when you go back, they have an entirely different song that is about how much they hate you specifically.
Oh, that's incredible. That's great though. I mean, the Trojan War like myth stuff has always been really, really good. Like even it's mad how pervasive it still is and always has been. Like it's probably the most famous myth in the world. Particularly in I was going to say the Western world, but I mean there is no myth that's more pervasive that people are aware of. At least some aspect of it, you know, be it the